right, Rich, I hear you. I need to change. Okay, all right. I don't need to go down that door. I want to go down that door. I want to change. But what often happens is we want to change. Who likes to think that they want to change? Yeah, I think we want to change, don't we? We know that there are things we don't like about ourselves. There are things that need to align with God. There's things that need to go. There's things we maybe need to do. Like, we all have that challenge in our lives all the time. We have God, we have our conscience, but we also have the Holy Spirit guiding us and showing us the things that we need to change. We want to change. I think it's within us to want to change. It's there. But what can often happen, what often I see is that when a message is preached, like last week, or the Spirit of God moves in a certain way and people are convicted to want to change, it's a great start. But then what happens is we start seeing people like still in the same mess that they were in, despite the word being brought or the experience happening, and people are like, I don't understand it. Things like this. I got prayer for change, but nothing happened. I surrendered to God, but why do I still feel like this? Why do I still do the things that I've already told God I don't want anymore? Anyone relating with these things? Yeah? I want to change, but I'm not changing. Why? I don't get it. Why is it not happening? I've said everything I've needed to say. I've done everything I think I've needed to do. I got the prayer. I put my hand up at the right time. And then what we do is we do three things. We blame either God. So we blame God. We say, I did all I should, God. I prayed. I responded. I went to the front. I did everything that I am meant to do. Okay? The other one is we can blame others. So we can blame others like, your prayer didn't work. Yeah? Anyone relate to that one? Yeah? Some people come up to you and say, you prayed for me, but it didn't work. You're not a very good Christian. Obviously, you have no power. And you're like, oh, great, brilliant. Yeah? And then the other one is we blame ourselves. But not in a humble way. Not like, oh, Lord, just search me. Maybe there's something here I need you to deal with. Maybe there's something I need to look at. It's not that kind of blame. It's a defeatist blame. Okay, listen to this. Wanting to change is great. Everyone agree? Asking to change is awesome. Do you agree? Submitting yourself for change is really good. Yeah? But it's all pointless if you don't change your location. Now, the problem is if we're not in the right place, we can want to change. We know it's the right thing to do. But if we're still in the wrong place, we're still being influenced by that very thing that we want to be escaping from. A surrendered heart is not really surrendered if a person is still in the place that causes them to stumble or causes them to be tempted. You've got good intentions, but because you're still stood where you shouldn't be stood, the influence is still going to impact you and affect you. But it really doesn't matter how powerful the prayer is, how powerful the preach is, and also really how God moves, if straight after that, you're still going to go back to the same place. Change won't happen if you stay in the pit. If you sat in the pit will continue to influence you. Because we're being influenced by our surroundings. We're being impacted by what's around us. And what you are in still holds power over you. So if you come to church and you heard a preach, or you've been in the worship, or the Holy Spirit's moved, and you've responded, praise God for that. Don't stop doing that. That's where it starts. But it's not where it ends either. It's where it starts, but then the process after that is to say, okay, I need to consciously now choose to change my location. The reason we don't see change, not only in our own lives, but maybe in others, is because they're still sat in the same place. Turn to the person next to you and say, keep the change. This is what happens when we know truth. We know right from wrong. We know the direction we should go in. This isn't like, I didn't know. We know. We know right from wrong, don't we? We do. We know what direction we should go in, and we know when we're in a direction that isn't aligning with God, that we're not in the right place. We know it. Nothing is changing because we won't change our location. Yeah, so when the thought drops in, Satan's going to use thoughts all the time, okay? Things are going to drop into your life. There are always going to be things that are going to say, do the thing you shouldn't be doing, okay? The thought is not the sin. If for some reason the enemy's managed to get hold of us and make us condemned in that moment to say, well, you've already thought it, so you might as well just go all in because you're already in a bad place with God. And God's like, no, just take that thought captive and just get rid of that. Yeah, you don't need to do anything with it. So we take a thought and then we can decide, okay, this thought is messing with my head and it's causing me to want to go that way. Okay? So then what we might do is then we deliberately, this is what I was saying, we then deliberately choose to take that thought and we have to put that thought into action for it to turn into sin. Yeah? Just like if there's a thought that says, I should spend more time with Jesus, you need to deliberately move over and open the door. Yeah? You need to put it into action. It's a deliberate act, one way or the other. So if I'm preaching last week and I'm saying you don't need to do that anymore, okay? But you are stood here when you hear that message, when God moves, when the opportunity for prayer comes. If you're actually stood by this door at that moment, I need to change. I don't want to feel like this anymore. I don't want to have these thoughts anymore that lead me to do things I shouldn't do. You're still here, which is within arm's length of the door. Yeah? It's there. So even though you might get prayer, if you actually haven't moved closer and further, more towards Jesus, then you're right next to the influence still. It's just there. I just need to knock. The further you are away, you still then, I can't actually knock. I'm going to have to move and then knock. And if you're further away, it gets more deliberate because you're like, man, I'm going to have to actually make some more deliberate steps to get to that door. And if you're closer to Jesus, then he's even further away. But now your eyes aren't even on that. Your eyes are on him. So now you can't even see it because you've deliberately started to walk away from it because your location really does matter. So if you're in this place and you're asking for change and you want to change, but you are still in the place of influence, then you're going to be able to access it because you haven't changed that much. God might have started something to help you change. It's so much easier to be like, I think I'm all right. Knock, knock, knock. And then you're like, I don't understand. I got prayer for it and I don't understand. God's saying you need to change your location. You need to move away from it. So actually deliberately put yourself further away so he can't even knock on the door. And move closer to Jesus. Get closer to him. Move towards him so that actually now that change is starting to take place. And did you see what I was doing? It's not that you've changed. It's not like, Lord, change me. And you're here. It's, Lord, change me. Lord, will you help me? Can you help me, Lord? These thoughts, yeah? It's that we're moving towards where we need to be because we've been in this for such a long time that it's such an influence. It's not something that you're just going to run from. But you can deliberately start walking away from it. But if you don't, and then you're going, I don't understand why I'm still thinking the same things, doing the same thing, why this thing has power over me when I've had prayer. Well, Jesus has done everything. You know, he's broken every chain that can be broken. It's done. It's done in Jesus. If Jesus is praying over you, the chain's broken, it's broken. If you're going to just start putting them on, Jesus is like, I've broken those chains. Why are you putting them back on? Move away from it. You need to change the location. You need to walk away. It's about walking away. It's about changing things. And it's being deliberate. And it sounds so, but that means I'm going to have to get rid of some people in my life. Yeah, for the sake of your soul and for the sake of actually like having a life that honors God. Yes. Remove those people. Jesus is like, I didn't ask for any of that information. I just asked if you wanted to be made well. And what he's doing is he's letting you know every reason why he can't change. You know, sickness holds many forms, physical, mental, and spiritual. Jesus is asking every single one of us, do you want to be made well? Do you know that? Because we're always going to have an element of sickness at some point. There's always going to be something that we need to put right. There's always going to be an area of our life that isn't quite aligning with what God wants in our lives. And he's going to say, do you want to be made well? This question has been asked to the whole world. Do you want to be made well? Do you want to live the way that you're living? Do you really want to be in this pit still? Do you want to stay here? The answer is Jesus can take you out of it, but he's asking, are you happy where you are? And the truth is like, I've just settled for it really. This is just the way it is now. And that's what the guy's saying. He's like, this is just the way it is. I've been here for a very long time, but I'm not getting in there. No one's helping me. No one cares. But that's the problem, isn't it? That is the problem, isn't it? Say again, to the next person, say, keep the change. But that really is the problem. Because God has put in you the change. He's put it within you to change. He's given you the conviction to change. But when it gets tough and you start making excuses, God's not doing what he should do. People didn't do what they could have done. Oh, I'm not worthy. When we start making the excuses, or we don't understand why it's still the same thing when we ask for change. I asked for it, God. I requested it. Why is it not changing? What we do is we say to God, well, you can keep your change. And we give it back to God. We say, I tried. I did everything I should have done. I did everything the pastor said. I did everything the worship team was saying. I did everything that the prayer team said. I did everything that the Bible was telling me to do. I've done everything, God. I got prayer. I did what I needed to do. It didn't work. Clearly, you can keep your change. We start change with good intentions, but we end up losing heart because wanting change is not enough. Saying it doesn't make it so. So we take that struggle and we end up giving the intention to change back to God. And we kind of say, well, I did try. It doesn't work. I tried. They failed. You failed. I failed. Life wasn't fair. It was too hard. So keep the change. When things get tough, we often point out why it didn't work. Well, I know why it didn't work. It was them. It was me. It was him. Yeah? Rather than look for the solution. There's always a solution. Can I tell you a secret? There's always a solution, right? I'm going to tell you it now. Jesus. Yeah. Shh, don't say it too loud. There's always a solution. Jesus has done everything. He's fixed everything. So if you need something fixing, he is the guy you go to. You get the yellow pages out, whatever the equivalent of that is now, some kind of app probably. Back in my day, it was a big yellow book. Okay, you find Jesus and you ring that number and he'll come and fix it. He's the answer. He's the solution. We're only pointing out, I don't get it. Why am I not changing? Well, Jesus is all the way over there. That's why. Change isn't change if you do not rise up and walk. If you stay in the place that's a mess and say, I want to change, nothing's gonna change. But if you rise up and walk away, change will start taking place. Until you choose to not only want to change and say you want change, until you actually back it up with movement, you can have all the best intentions in the world, but the truth is, you are still allowing that which you are in to be greater than the power of God. Because greater is he who is in you than he that is in the world. So why are we struggling? If he's in you, why are we struggling? If he's greater as he that's in you than he that's in the world, than Satan, than all the temptations this world has to offer, if that is the truth, why am I struggling? Because God's saying, because you stood exactly right in their camp. Move. If you want to walk away from that which has dictated to you in the wrong way, that which has controlled you, you have to move. You have to move. You have to walk away from it. Rise up and walk. We need to turn. I'm like sidestepping here, but really, that's not even good. That's not good theology. It's not sidestepping. It's turning your back, isn't it? Yeah? And that all that is in front of you is Jesus now. And then you're walking, step by step. So you need to move with your change. When God moves in your life, there will always be something or someone that will try and undo what Jesus has done. This bed, it was a sign of his infirmity. It was a sign of who he was, and he was stuck to it. It was probably the thing that was closest to him. It was the only thing that he had. And it was a representation of control. Because as long as he's lying on that mat, nothing's changing. Jesus comes along. Jesus comes along, yeah? He speaks life. Anyone thankful that Jesus came and spoke life into your life? Yep. Yeah? Jesus came along and spoke life. And then he says, rise up, take that bed, put it under your arm, and walk. what he's saying is, take the thing that had an authority over you and control over you and put it under your arm. Yeah? So that you can have control now. Jesus is the authority. I'll say it again because obviously Jesus is the authority. Jesus gives that authority over to you. That you now have authority over that which once had authority over you. Yeah? Who wants change to be permanent and powerful? Who wants your change to be permanent and powerful, yeah? All you need to do is what this guy did, okay? He answers like this. I don't know you guys, but that guy over there, he told me to rise up and take my bed. Sorry. Probably need to word it better than that. What I mean to say is the guy over there who made me whole, complete, well, healthy, true, sound, that guy, he told me to take up my bed and walk. I don't know who you are, but you didn't change my life. You didn't heal me. You didn't complete me. I've only just met this guy, and he has changed my life forever. You've been lingering around this place for years, and you've never helped me or anyone else in this area. He just walked in, and he's changed my life forever. You want to know why I'm carrying my bed when you think I shouldn't? Because I'm going with what he told me. I'm going to go with what he's done in my life. I'm going to follow what he said. You want your change to be permanent? When the distractions, the discouragement, and all the things that say, oh, was that really God? You say, yes, because I'm not going with what your words are and what you're saying. I'm going what he's done and what he said. And I'm standing on that. So you can say what you like, but I'm carrying my bed because I met Jesus and he changed my life. So if he's telling me to carry my bed, I'm doing that too. So you need to know that as you turn your back and you start walking towards Jesus, the discouragement's going to come, the stuff will come, and this doesn't end. This isn't a one-time only story. This isn't just a one-time only journey. This is what happens throughout our walk with God. I'm not sure who you think you are in my life, but the one who saved me, the one who restored me, the one who healed me, the one who redeemed me, the one who set me free, the one that gave me hope, the one that blessed me, the one that forgave me, the one that changed me, the one that gave me a second chance, the one that spoke life into me, and he calls me friend, by the way, and he knows my name, and he created me, and he made a way where there was no way. I'm going to go with what he told me. I don't know who you are, but you ain't speaking life into me like he did. You're not changing my life like he did. He changed me, he transformed me, and therefore I ain't staying in this location any longer because I want change. I want change. This is how you respond. When change comes, what you do next matters. Who you believe next also matters. When change comes and we're in the place of influence, this guy at that moment could have just walked straight back into the place of sickness. It's all he's ever known. 38 years of only knowing that. 38 years of being so close to this mat and it being such a strong hold over his life. You wouldn't have questioned him for going back to that place, sitting back on the mat and just being back where he was, back in his spot, because he's not known anything else. Because if you stay in the place of influence, that is what's going to influence you. And that's why Jesus says, he doesn't say, rise up, take your bed and stand here. He says, walk. Because he says, you need to get out of this place. This is a place of influence. And it's only got sickness around it. And you're no longer sick. So when you respond to God and you say, Lord, I don't want to be sick anymore. I don't want this addiction anymore. I don't want this thought anymore. I don't want this way of thinking or this way of being anymore. And Jesus comes and sets you free. If there isn't change, it's because you're still in the place of sickness. You're still sat in it, and you're still going and knocking on the door because you put yourself too close to it. It's time to move away from the place of influence. The man departed. The man moved. The man left. To depart is to leave. He walked away from what he used to be. Jesus said, rise up, take your bed, and walk. Rise up is the direct declaration of your healing or your restoration. That's what Jesus is saying over everyone. Do you want to be made well? He's done it. You just need to receive it. He's done it. You want to be made well? You want to be made well? You want this addiction to go? You want this to change? That's the declaration. Rise up. Take up. Yeah, take up your bed. Take up is the understanding that now God has transferred the authority of that thing into your arms. So rise up. Take up. Okay? That's the first two things. But so far, you still stood in the same place. Walk is to take you away from where you were. You want to know why things aren't changing? Because maybe you've risen up. Maybe you've even taken up, but you haven't walked. You still stood in the pit. You're still influenced and surrounded by the stuff that controls you, the people that control you. Stop telling God to keep the change and embrace the change by choosing to depart. It's time to move with your change. Turn to the person next to you and say, can I have my change back?